Welcome to Heartfelt Life Diaries, where we explore the profound mysteries of destiny and the echoing power of our daily actions. In a small and quiet village lived a devoted woman who performed a sacred ritual of kindness every single morning without fail. She would lovingly bake an extra roti, a flatbread, specifically intended to feed any hungry traveler who might pass by her home. Placing the fresh bread on her windowsill, she offered it to the universe, hoping it would nourish a weary soul. With every loaf she baked, she whispered a fervent prayer for her son, who had left home months ago seeking fortune. She had heard no news from him for a long time and prayed for his safe return to their humble home. Every day, a hunchbacked man would come to her window, his appearance ragged and his walk slow, to take the bread. However, instead of expressing gratitude or saying a simple thank you to the generous woman, he would recite a strange mantra. He would always murmur the same cryptic words: "The evil you do remains with you. The good you do returns to you." Day after day, this continued, and the woman felt increasingly irritated by his lack of appreciation for her daily act of charity. Weeks turned into months, and the hunchback never once smiled or thanked her, only repeating that same confusing and rhythmic phrase. She began to resent his presence, thinking he was an ungrateful wretch who did not deserve her kindness or her bread. She thought to herself, "Not a single word of gratitude, just that nonsense about good and evil returning. What does he mean?" The irritation festered within her soul like a wound, slowly turning her daily act of kindness into a source of bitterness. Finally, her patience snapped, and she decided she wanted to be rid of this ungrateful hunchback once and for all. In a moment of clouded judgment, she decided to add strong poison to the dough prepared specially for the hunchback. She mixed the deadly ingredient into the flour, her heart pounding with a mixture of anger and fear at her action. As she shaped the lethal cake, she muttered that this would finally teach him a lesson and end his daily visits. However, as she was about to place the baked roti on the windowsill, her hands began to shake uncontrollably. A sudden wave of horror washed over her. She asked herself aloud, "What is this terrible thing I am doing?" She could not go through with it. She threw the poisoned bread into the fire and watched it burn to ashes. Trembling with relief and guilt, she quickly prepared a fresh, clean batch of dough to make a safe and wholesome roti. She placed the good bread on the windowsill, just moments before the hunchback arrived for his daily ritual of sustenance. As always, he took the bread and murmured, "The evil you do remains with you. The good you do returns to you." He walked away happily, unaware of how close he had come to death, leaving the woman to ponder his strange words. That evening, the atmosphere in the village grew cold and heavy, as if the universe was preparing for a significant revelation. She sat by the flickering lamp, her mind still racing with the events of the morning and thoughts of her son. Suddenly, a knock on the door startled her. It was not a loud knock, but a weak, desperate tapping for help. She hurried to open it, wondering who would visit her at this late hour, her heart beating in her throat. To her astonishment, she found her beloved son standing there, thin, pale, and looking like he had walked through hell. He was barely recognizable, his clothes in tatters, and his body wasted away from hunger and exhaustion. But he was alive. She helped him inside, gave him water, and comforted him, asking what terrible tragedy had befallen him on his journey. After catching his breath, he looked at his mother and said, "Mom, it is a miracle that I am here today." He explained that while he was just a mile away, he had collapsed from starvation and could not take another step. He told her that he thought he was going to die right there on the road, alone and forgotten by everyone. But then, an old hunchbacked man passed by. He saw my condition and stopped to help me, showing great kindness. The man was carrying a single roti. He gave it to me, saying that I needed it more than he did. As the son spoke, the mother's face turned ashen pale. She leaned against the wall for support, trembling with shock. My son said the man told him, This is what I eat every day, but today you need it to survive. The mother remembered the poisoned bread she had made that morning, the bread she had intended for the hunchback to eat. She realized with horror that if she had not listened to her conscience and destroyed that bread, her son would be dead. If she had sent the poisoned bread, her own son would have eaten it and died instantly at the roadside today. The words of the hunchback echoed loudly in her mind. The evil you do remains, the good you do returns. She finally understood the weight of his words, realizing that the universe always balances the scales of our deeds eventually. The next morning, she baked the bread with more love than ever before, her heart cleansed of all bitterness and anger. She waited by the window, not with impatience, but with a deep desire to thank the man who saved her son. When the hunchback arrived, she did not hide. She went out, held his hands, and thanked him with tears in eyes. He smiled gently, unaware that his act of kindness had returned the bread to the very home it came from. That day, they shared a meal together. The circle of karma was complete, connecting three lives in a bond of humanity. Her son was safe, and she had learned the most valuable lesson of her life. Never underestimate the power of doing good. Our deeds are like seeds. We plant them daily, and eventually, we must eat the fruit they bear, sweet or bitter. She promised herself to never let dark thoughts cloud her judgment again, knowing that every action sends ripples through time. The story of the woman and the hunchback spread through the village, inspiring others to act with kindness without expecting reward. The hunchback was no longer just a beggar to them, but a teacher who carried a profound wisdom in his heart. So remember, when you do good for others, you are actually doing good for yourself in ways you cannot yet see. And when you harbor ill will or plan harm, you are only preparing a trap for your own feet to fall. Let kindness be your daily ritual, not a burden. Let gratitude be your attitude, regardless of how others treat you. Life has a funny way of returning exactly what we give out. Be generous, be kind, and trust the process. May your life be filled with the sweet fruits of your good deeds, and may you always choose love over hate. Thank you for watching Heartfelt Life Diaries. Remember, do good, and it will return to you in the most unexpected ways.